So, two things that we've really learned from while producing I is that we should have engaged with lawyers earlier and investors earlier. So, let's focus on the lawyer part first. It seems scary to an independent filmmaker to engage with lawyers, but it's critical to understand what documentation you need, especially as you get closer to working with distributors to release your film, because they have a laundry list of documentation requirements they're going to want from you before they can release your film. So outside of us knowing about talent agreements and crew agreements and stuff with musical licensing, a chain of title is something I was not aware of until we engaged with our lawyer. And that is a critical document to have to show ownership of your screenplay and so on and so forth. And so if we would have, engaged with a lawyer earlier, I would have already had that done and I'd be much closer to having a lot of the documentation I need for distributors. And another reason to engage with lawyers early goes into the investor part of all this. Because if I'm going to work with investors and pitch certain types of revenue waterfalls and agreements, that stuff needs to be very tightly put together. And I can put all the documentation together I want, but a lawyer is going to be able to say, hey, from a legal standpoint, this is what you need to be able to say. Here's the agreements. And your investors are probably going to have a lawyer too. So you're going to want to have somebody in your corner. So to transition now to investors, we should have engaged with them early too. Now the thought process is, okay, I need to finish the film or get it to a good standpoint so I can then go to the investor to get more money to finish it, so on and so forth. Or for the flip side, you're thinking, what is it that I need to put in place to get initial funds? It's all really scary. But if you have people in mind that you think may invest in your film that are friends, family connections, so on and so forth, they may not give you money at the initial point, but they may be able to give you guidance as to what you need to provide them or future investors, provide them what they would need in order to give you funds. So it's a relationship. Just get into it early. You cannot be afraid to engage with potential investors early on. And so we're at a point now where we have to kind of really speed up the process and pull out different things together that are separate from the film in order to engage with investors. And we really should have spent these last couple of years building that relationship and possibly making even more connections to see who's going to be the right fit for us. Because if someone's investing in your film, it's a partnership, it's a relationship. So, again, two things that we've learned while working on I as producers: just engage lawyers early, engage investors early. This is show business, and you got to do the business part too.